Muslim women are oppressed. That's not true. That's a lie. I married a Muslim woman. I'm oppressed. It's hard to be a Muslim for me. Anything else in this community. Allah made me a doctor. Alhamdulillah. Allah made me a lawyer. MashaAllah. Allah made me funny. Astaghfirullah. Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you'll know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Miles, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Sunday. You know why? Because you're not having a fabulous Sunday. After midnight, you're going to have to wait another 6 days to have one. So my point is, get in when you fit in. That's number one. Number two is, if you're not having a day, there's a blessing that a week is not 1 day. It's 7 days. And if you can orient yourself just a little bit to say, you know what, whatever it is, let me get out of my own way. Not let me be so small. Let me be so petty, if you will. Sometimes you find you can go on and have a great week. Like me, myself, sometimes I admit I'm petty. I can be petty about stuff. It's a funny petty for me, but it's still petty nonetheless. I'm going to say some things today on Sunday Potluck Show that I thought about yesterday as I was dealing with my brother's janaza, but it reminded me of some of the conversations that we had, and also something about etiquette when we deal with people. Some of the things that are missing. You know, after the January 20th, we won't have Donald Trump in the White House anymore. But that doesn't mean that people won't hold on to some of the attitudes and efforts and behaviors that they exhibited during this time, during this 4 years. And I think it's important for us to talk about those things. Now, before we get into it, let me give a shout out to anybody that's coming to the Shout Out Show for the first time. The rules are really simple. When you come out to the Shout Out Show, you are family. You are officially part of the Shout Out Show family. The Shout Out Show Soldiers, a very unique, eclectic group of people that come here on the platform pretty much every day, every other day. And it doesn't matter if they come one time or 100 times. Let me tell you guys something. I appreciate the fact that people spend their time, even though it's a half hour. That's a half hour they could be doing something else. That's number one. Number two, when you come, if you don't mind, just click the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 128 subscribers by the next Haley's Conference. Is that a simple goal? That's pretty much. And for the people that are actually on the show, they come and they get in the comment section and they make their comments. Listen, from the Preacher Moss, the family, everybody involved with the show, we really, really do appreciate you. So this show is basically the Sunday Potluck with Preach. And I'm going to tell you guys why I give it themes. Tomorrow will be More Better Mondays. So let me tell you something about More Better Mondays, brothers and sisters. we are up on a milestone. That milestone is pretty simple. Tomorrow we're going to hit 200 episodes. 200. That's 200. What's significant about hitting 200 episodes is that we did it 200 in a row, 200 consecutively. We have not missed a show. But what's more important than hitting it 200 times consecutively is that we have an audience 200 times consecutively, which is more important than the show. It means that the audience has an idea of what they want. The audience has an idea of voicing their opinions and sharing them on this platform. And I appreciate that. As a comedian, when you tell jokes, the audience is really, really reserved to tell you what they think about your show till after the show. If you do it before the show, it's called heckling. And if you do it at most show, it's called suicide. I do not take the hecklers kindly. That being said, it's still a rule that there's an interaction that happens, and it's very transformational and not transactional. I try to make sure it's not transactional, but it's transformational, and those things are the things that make this show special. Let me get back to what I'm doing. Now we already got some people. We got some people in the spot. We got Sister Reed. Sister Reed is craft services. She makes sure your brother is eating well. Sister Sultana, consultant producer. She was on the show yesterday. Big up, Sister Sultana. You did a great job yesterday. Sister Naima Griffin. All right. Well, my salam rahmatullah. Did you read my response, Sister Naima? I did respond to your question. Now, don't shortchange me. I took time to write out a response and try and sound educated. Yes, Sister Sultana. Alhamdulillah, we're doing 200 shows on Monday. And my man Ahmed Shaheed. This is Imam Shaheed. The brothers and sisters down in Houston, 3rd Ward. I have to give this brother a little shout out, a little love. And I'll get into the program after I do that. I give this brother a little love, man, because he's a tireless worker. When I see him, he's doing things and he's not talking about the action. He's talking about getting things done in a very, very quiet, humble way. I like that. It reminds me. And it's to the point where if you see it enough, you can overlook it. You can forget to say thank you, brother, for doing that. So, Brother Ahmed, thank you so much for what you do for the community, the masjid, and just overall, man. I see how you've grown. He was a man before I met him, but I see how you've grown into a husband and a father, and I see your kids growing, man, and I take pride in the fact that you did it the right way, man. And big shout outs to your wife. All right. So enough. I'm never going to say that back. Did you respond back, Sister Naeem? Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm talking smack. I will go back and check it out. So I want to talk about something really, really that bothered me a little bit, and I see it happening way too much. But, yesterday at my brother's janaza, we had a situation. This has happened a couple times. Yesterday, my brother's janaza, we're bringing the body out and everything. And we had to pray janaza in the parking lot because there was too many people to be inside with social distancing. There were clearly some people there who were not Muslim. My brother had a cadre of people that loved and supported him, and they drove all the way up from Virginia. They hired a driver and drove all the way up from Virginia. In fact, I'm going to say his name, Brother George Light, who is, and he's not Muslim. It does not matter. This brother's an amazing spirit. I love this guy. He came with his wife, and he was hurt by the loss of Brother Reggie. But it was made worse when they bought him out. When we bought Reggie outside to put in the Hertz, this brother looked at them, and then he started yelling, line up for prayer. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. He goes, listen, he goes, this is just for the Muslims. I'm like, brother, really? He said it twice. Like, this is just for the Muslims. I'm like, bro, not that I don't know you, not that we're not brothers. I'm like, but is it really necessary? If you walked over to them and said, as a part of this ceremony, this is a Muslim rite and the Muslim brothers pray over. So he would have more than been happy to partake, just look at it and appreciate it. It was an educational moment. But he didn't. This brother should yelling out, it's just for the Muslims. It's not just for the Muslims, brother. It's for Allah. And that thing did bother me because I couldn't get back to him to talk to him about it because we were already in the ranks. But I'm like, why are we doing that? I want to know where do we get this virus? Because of course we got coronavirus. Where's this virus, man, to have intentionality to just hurt people on the most basic of things? You know what I mean? I mean just the most basic of things. It's just this overall, I won't say lack of compassion, I'm just lack of wisdom of how you give compassion. Because people have compassion. If you choose not to give it, then just choose not to give it. But you don't have to do it in a way where you're just hurting people. One of my biggest problems with this past president, and I do mean past president, brothers and sisters. Oh, what's going on, Sister Rabina? Thank you for coming on the show all the way from the UK. You logged some late hours over there. I couldn't make it to 11 o'clock. I'm telling you now. In fact, I'm yawning right now, trying to do this show. But my point is, why do we do that? Why is it we have this weird, I want to say nationalism, religious nationalism, understanding that we serve humanity, we serve creation, we are a part of a much larger system. And I have to say this because that person, just like probably a bunch of other people, because I've done shows before where you have one or two extremes. Oh, look here, this is my mother right here. May God to continue to bless you, your show, and your brother who transition. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Thanks, Mom. My mom's downstairs. I couldn't resist. But I want to, but I literally, I do, Sister Ike, all the way from Indonesia. Thank you so much. We need a new president. Hey, Brother Altaf, all the way from Toronto. Appreciate you as well, brother. But I'm on this thing, man, about the environment. You know, I literally said during the second term of Obama, I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but we are entering this space of a period, if you will, of some of the just. This is one of the most illest feelings I had. And I watched Obama go through his second term, and I saw that the lack of what's the word goodwill. I saw goodwill just diminish, and so it set up for Trump to do what he did. But it's a thing now. It's a thing now, and I'm seeing it in so many communities, particularly religious communities. Now, everybody here knows, religious communities, we're trying to be pious, we're trying to be holy, and all those good things. But religious communities are, for lack of a better word, even you're a nonprofit, you're a business. And I see that religious communities have become more a part of corporatocracy, if you will. They're running themselves like businesses, and running themselves like businesses, they're looking to increase finances, they're looking to increase in membership and things like that. And I don't have a problem with that. You want to grow your masjid, you want to grow your church, you want to grow your synagogue. If you're in the right frame of mind, that you're in service, to creation, service to God. But I see it way too much, brothers and sisters, whereby it's personalities who are vying for the minds and the hearts and souls of the young, the old, the lost, the rich, the poor. And because of that, I don't understand why we do that. I've been some places sometimes as a Muslim comedian, as I've been addressed, and I wasn't welcome. I'm going to say that again. I've been some places as a Muslim comedian, and I wasn't welcome. I wasn't even telling jokes. It was just a rumor that I was Muslim doing comedy. Therefore, everything that came out of my mouth had to have a tint or a tinge of being funny and disrespectful. Somehow, quote unquote, disrespecting the religion of Al-Islam and respecting the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. I felt that yesterday with this brother speaking loudly. And here's the thing that was also annoying. The spot is pretty much 99.9% Muslim. Why are you making this proclamation? Why are you making this proclamation? The reason I'm saying this, folks, is because we're doing it a lot more. One of the things I noticed before COVID was the way children were being treated in that classroom. The way children are being treated in classroom. In fact, you know, a little one came to me one time after watching politicians speak. And they talking about we're going to restore the middle class, and they said a very very basic question, which was, "Hey, what about the poor? What are we doing about the poor?" And you know what? I had no real response because politicians don't do anything about the poor. It's the availability of opportunity. Remember those words, people. The availability of opportunity. Let me bring up comments from Sister Rabina. What you got for us? There's a big difference between compassion and being blatantly rude. I was not raised with other brown folk or Muslim, but no one was treated disrespectfully at funerals, weddings, etc. I just don't understand it at all. I don't understand it at all either. I don't understand it at all either. I mean, I had a good talk with one of the imams in Philly, Imam Anwar Mahiman from Cuba Institute. Good brother, man. Good brother. And we got into this thing about how we advocate religion in terms of exclusivity. Like, if someone had an opportunity to become Muslim, there's actually a person. It's almost like a person or personage or a metaphor whereby I can, in some regards, alter or keep you away from, I want to say, praying to your Lord or serving or respecting. And I think some of the things that are even coming out lately is a large indicator why people are actually leaving the masjids. Um, it's not a big it's not a big secret. Kids are leaving organized religion, and the religion of Islam is probably the leading religion of these kids that are leaving because we present things to them that seem damn near impossible, and in practice they are. We don't leave room for mistakes. We don't leave room for evolution. I always say if I'm going to fail, fail forward, fail fast. Fail forward, fail fast. I'm going to tell you that the idea behind fail forward and fail fast. Number one, if I fail, I want to be moving towards progress. Progress is not winning, brothers and sisters. Progress is procedural. So if there are 10 steps, I get 7 of them. I failed on 3. If there are 7 steps, I can do that. So I don't really have that kind of problem. It's the idea that people are so locked into the idea that if you don't do all of them, if you don't do all of them, somehow you're at abject failure. If you don't do all of them, somehow you don't fit. If you don't know everything about Islam, then you can't be that Muslim. If that was the case, you hardly have any, particularly any convert Muslims, because the whole idea is leaving a faith or joining a faith with the understanding that you're going to be able to grow in the faith. That said, for those who are not in our religion, for those who are not Muslim, that same idea has to be shared. You know, and I'm going to talk about it. Let me give a shout out. Sister Ika's daughter, everybody. I'm giving her a shout out, Nadifa Umar. Happy birthday. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think she's the big uh 15. I'm not sure. But in any event, big shout out to Nadifa. Happy birthday. You know, in my masjid in DC, Masjid Muhammad on New Jersey Avenue, Muhammad's Way, 4th and Muhammad Way, whatever one you want to say. You know what's interesting? And I'm not starting any problems, okay? This is not a fitna issue. But for the years you were coming to that masjid, your orientation, the people that you met at the front door, I want to say the people that sold you on compassion, sold you on the practicality of religion, it was women. It was Muslims at the door. And I have to say, I understand why they had Muslims at the door. Because Muslim men, I love you, but sometimes we just outright crazy. We say weird stuff, and I even want to put this out a little bit more. I think it was smart and strategic because I always say that the faith of women in any religion has always been expanded by the ability to carry life, to, if you will, produce life. produce life. Like, and it's an amazing thing. It's like any guy who's gone through the process of having a baby, you all know, or the best you can do is be real supportive and stand by and stand back. There's not a whole lot you can say when the baby's coming. Breathe, hold my hand, but the baby has a mind of its own, and that relationship between mother and child, we'll never understand. We will never understand. And I think in that fact, I think maybe that type of compassion is why sisters more often a lot more compassion than brothers. There's probably a bunch of other reasons there, but I won't go into that. Let me go back to the chat room real quick. Wow, wow, this is Naima. That's something that almost pushed me out of Al Islam. People always want to prove to you how Muslim they are instead of worrying about themselves. This is true. This is true. This is true. What you got? When COVID first came out, many Muslims were saying they couldn't get it because they were clean, were frequent wudu, almost a privilege statement. FYI, you can't use soap to lather in wudu. There you go. We got some birthday greetings, Sister Nadifa. That is so true. That is so true. Oh wow, we got a whole lot. Let me shout out Star in the building, brothers and sisters. Star in the building. My man all the way from Liverpool. Haroon, what's going on, baby? How are you, your family, your daughter, your businessman? I miss you, brother. I hope all is well. Haroon's up in Northern California, man. You're going to have to give me one of your videos, brother. I'm going to have to put it on the show sometime. Haroon is a rapper, music producer. He's a filmmaker. He's an entrepreneur. Um, Proud to say he's my brother, my friend. I always try and keep tabs on him and his brother Horace, the twin brothers, as a matter of fact. Always try and keep tabs on those brothers, man, because they're the good ones. You know, when I say the good ones, those are the good ones. Like those are good brothers. So let me throw this out here. Sister Rabina had the message should be about community, not exclusivity. No one can know everything about Islam until we welcome strangers to the family. It won't grow. That's right. We have to show Islam through our actions and our words. That is 100% correct. Because George Light, I want to say, man, George Light and Reginald Kitchen were like this, brothers and sisters. This is like this. And a unique relationship between not Christian and Muslim. Let me break this down. Not Christian and Muslim. Okay. It was a breakdown between brothers, man. I mean, George Light, imagine me in this place in Philadelphia, and the brother yells out, "This is just for the Muslims. This is just for the Muslims." And he doesn't know that George Light donated a kidney to Reginald Kitchen. Dig that. Donated a kidney to this man. And you hear somebody yell out something, and I'm like, we just have to be more considerate. It reminds me of being around adults and a child runs in the middle of the conversation and just starts talking. Has that ever happened to you? Now, there's a couple of emotions that happen to me. Number one, I'm like, A, whose kid is this? B, why is this kid talking? C, I'm ticked off because I couldn't do it when I was a kid. I come out of that role where you didn't talk unless you had permission to talk or a job. One of the two. You either have permission or a job. I remember walking with my grandfather, and so his old cronies were talking, and they looked at me and said, "How you doing, little Moss?" And I looked at him. He said, "You can go ahead." I said, "Good." He said, "That's enough." And that was it. I didn't talk for another 4 years around these people, again, unless you have permission. It's the same thing I felt yesterday. Like, who is giving you permission to say anything? I'm literally going, "Who are you? I don't know you." I'm like, I'm like, are you just a dude that shows up when we have janazas just to hang out and hope that there's a repast and there's some food? I don't know. Like, literally, who knows you? He was not one of the people that was invited inside, and that's not the point. That's not the point. Literally, if you don't know who's involved, you don't know the people who are partaking of this situation, you don't know, especially at a janaza, at a funeral, where people's hearts are in turmoil. People are openly mourning, self included, just pray just for the Muslims, and we end this. We enter this thing of exclusivity. Like, why do we do that? So let me say this real quick. Allah knows best. I'm not braiding this brother. I don't know him. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But as a rule, you know, I learned or I try to treat people with respect as much as I can until they give me a reason not to. Thus, compassion is an interesting thing because compassion has levels to it. It could be very, very general, or it could be very, very specific. Very, very general, very, very specific, but it's received with the same amount of enthusiasm and capacity. And that's the other thing about compassion, mercy. It has capacity. It's one of the most overlooked things in the world. And here we are at an event, a sad event, a place where you're supposed to show compassion and it's not shown. So it kind of blew my mind. So I know this isn't the most exciting subject on Potluck or Preach, but I felt like it was necessary. Not only because it happened, but as a reminder to myself and all of us, that we do have a duty to show compassion to humanity, not so much pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? Not so much people who pick and choose. That was my thing when I first became Muslim. I got confused with people that would pick and choose parts of the religion. These benefits me. I won't talk about this one. This part of the Quran ayat benefits me. And it really confused me as a young Muslim. And much the same as Sister Naima, I almost left the religion of Al Islam because I worried that this was not an isolated incident. I worried that this thing could be the norm because I ran into two guys who, they were just that way. And it happens, don't get me wrong. It happens in church, it happens in synagogue. I get that. You know, this weirdness that's supposed to be piety, but it's just disrespectful. Same guy that stands up at motion sisters to move the line up during June. Like, yeah, who who are you? Like, who are you? You know? Yeah, just ignorant. It wasn't a match, Sister Rabina. It was it, like yesterday it was at a Muslim funeral home. But I've been in masjids, man. You know, you know, there's a saying with Muslim converts. Uh, you haven't had your heart truly broken in the religion of Islam until a Muslim breaks it. Real talk, because we talk about everybody else. Oh, the non-Muslims, the kuffar, the da da da. No, a Muslim will break your heart and go on about their doggone business when they do it, and expect to hang out with you after it's been done. I'm a forgiving guy. I've said this before. Allah says to forgive. I've learned to do that, but I'm not good at forgetting. Not that I hold a grudge, but I'm not gonna be done dirty twice. And in the words of Imam Wardi Muhammad, he said it. I agree with it. What did he say? He said that if you don't like the way people treat you, change the way you think. Word. If you don't like the way people treat you, change the way you think. And so for the last bunch of years, I've changed the way I thought. So let's wrap this up a little bit. Because I've been talking about this thing about when we show compassion, mercy, respecting people. Reset Christians too, yeah. I was a Christian too. I know. I remember. I remember when people. I especially remember how people reacted with my mom when they found out I was Muslim. They were talking to her like, "Girl, you off your game. What kind of Christianity you talking about?" I remember that. I remember getting called out at church. Hey, Ree, you remember this? When they had a call to Jesus, they want people to come up and get saved, and I'm sitting in there with a kufi on, and the whole church is looking at me. You need to come to Jesus. Everybody's like, look at me, they're like, you heard him talking to you, right? Um, yeah, and I felt bad for my mom, but we all evolve. We all evolve. And I tend to look at it like this: like these are lessons. No, these are lessons, and we need to be able to reflect upon them as lessons. And they're not necessarily negative. They may be painful, but they're not necessarily negative. I won't put them all as 100% negative, but they do. They do damage to the soul. They do damage to the heart a little bit. Because most of y'all, like, I'm a big heart guy. Yeah, I'm a hard dude, but I'm a big heart guy. I still, I get emotional when I watch certain things, when things don't work out for little kids and stuff like that. When I see a young guy not making it the way he should as a teacher, I admit openly that I lose sleep about children who are not eating, or children not getting education, or they won't get the opportunities they need to get. And that's how I live my life. I want to be there for those folks, just like pretty much everybody here. We want to be there for those people, big, small, and in between. There's no big eyes, little U's, as my mama used to say. And you've heard that before. But my point is, you know, if we can get anything out of this, just this little brief talk, it's just the idea, particularly coming out of this election, that humanity counts. I've heard Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter on Pence's head. Um, Humanity matters. And what I thought about yesterday is why we can't afford to get into this weird practice, exercise, or where we feel as though we can segment humanity. Let me say that again. We can segment humanity, like the old marketing term, target segmentation, where we make it hard to access the good things in our religion. We make it hard to, um, you know, have people learn about situations, particularly religious practices. I got something for Ahmed right here. Let me see. I've seen this only at funerals, but weddings as well. So I've tried to lecture and advise people to know the religion, know your rights, so that you have options. I have to advocate for others to ensure mercy and kindness. It's the main takeaway from these ceremonies. Yeah, yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Because I have been to a janazah. I've been to two janazas, brothers and sisters. When that happened, it didn't end well. Um, that brother did not appreciate. He was a Muslim, but he didn't appreciate how the brother who wasn't even part of his family made this proclamation, not understanding that that family is very tight. They're very emotional because you never know what's going on. The relationships between people. That's probably the bigger issue. I tend not to speak when I meet people in a group because I don't know the relationship of people in the group. It's important to be humble and dumb down a little bit and let people tell you who they are. Let people tell you what they believe. Let people tell you what's accessible in terms of conversation, what's accessible in terms of ideas. Because sometimes it's just good. It's like, listen, we're just gonna have a conflict about this. Maybe we just need to let it go. Maybe we don't need to have that conversation. It's not that we're not having it. Maybe that's just not the right time. Maybe it's just not the right flow. And if we can get into just the nuances, if you will, the nuances, because we tend as a society, people ask me why I didn't like Trump. I don't know Trump, so I'm not gonna tell you I hated Trump. But he was just garrulous, man. Every time he stepped in, it was like garrulous. It was like a whole lot of nothing talk, and what came out was minor, it's minimal. You know what I mean? It was less value talk. It didn't have a lot of weight to it. And as a point, as a thinker, a critical thinker, just like you, it worries me because I'm like, is this the best you're going to give me in a crucial situation? Can you step up and tell me the truth? In a crucial situation, can you say, you know what? I did X, I did Y, I won, I lost. The whole idea, can you be as graceful a loser as you could be a winner? Those things matter. Those things matter. And in this country right now, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't believe that they can lose. Just like a lot of people believe they can't get sick. Just like a lot of people, like Sister Sultana said, thought they couldn't get coronavirus because they make voodoo with soap. You can't do voodoo with soap. You put soap up your nose if you want to. Send me the video. That's funny. But, and I'll close on this. The thing that's really, really important is that our kids are watching. And after 4 years of Trump, I watch kids who had hope and now they have doubt. Because the people who are supposed to give them guidance have given them doubt, given them confusion, given them misinformation. Do you know what it is to have a child turn on television and watch a grown man talking about a Muslim ban? Aggressively talk about a Muslim ban. Get it to legislation. This is not idle talk. Get it to legislation where it has to be argued in the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. And look at children who are Muslim, but also look at children who are not Muslim, but they know right and wrong. And we sit here going, how did this happen? I tell you how it happens. It's those 1 or 2 incidents that we let happen like a bad algorithm. It happens. It seems a small thing, but if you do it a million times, it's not a mountain. It's not a molehill. It's a mountain. And we let these things go. So in this talk, and I'm going to get off the phone. I'm called George Light, and I'm going to apologize on behalf of us. On behalf of us. And let him know, you know what? That was out of line. And I tried to tell him that yesterday, but he was hurt. He wasn't hearing me. Along with, losing his mentor, just like myself. So, brothers and sisters, let's, in the words of the old folks, let's show improve. They say show improvement. We say show improve. And maybe the next time when we open our mouth, we think about that compassion. Or we might say, we'll say, wait a minute, that's not the way you do it. That's not the way you do it. So, brothers and sisters, everybody, I want you to have an incredible rest of your day, your Sunday, or your Monday, wherever you are in the world. And you know what? Let's have a great day with great intent, great expectations, coming from being great people. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. Simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.